Coach.
Hey, Chris Heidel from Herbison Radio in Baltimore.
Good morning.
Good morning. Talk about your defense. What do you got? How good is your defense this year going to be? Because I know last year you guys were in some games out. You have somebody 7 points or less. What do you guys have to do to get those things taken care of this year?
Well, we made a lot of progress last year from a total defense standpoint, and really just about every statistical category. And part of that was, again, just the caliber of player in the building had improved, and we've bolstered that even more this offseason. And I think when you have continuity at the defense coordinator position and most of our position coaches as well, that bodes well also. And, a guy that you're going to be speaking to in a little bit, Kiko Mauigoa over here, I think he's a big reason why, as a leader of that defense and being surrounded by people that are driven, hungry, and that want to be there and that want to be really good. So we took a good step last year. We expect to take an even bigger one this year.
Coach, stay on the right side, 2 rows behind him.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Jeremy Grandison, ESPN in Charlotte. Kind of want to talk about Cam Ward coming into this system. How has that adjustment been so far, and how do you think he can help you guys win going into this season?
Well, in a lot of ways, I think it's very well documented, his productivity as a player, throughout his career. And what really stands out in the short time we've been around him is he's an alpha leader, okay? And on the way in, when we were watching him on film, it was obvious to the entire country and the reason everybody wanted him was his playmaking ability, right? Really accurate, great arm strength, ability to improvise, extend plays, a game changer. But what impressed us the most was whenever there was a bad play, his ability to bounce back and make things right. His aggressive, I would say competitive nature to come back and make things right, to go ahead and make up for maybe a play that was negative, was really, really impressive. And that has really stood out in his time at Miami throughout spring practice as he just built and gained the trust of his teammates.
Coach, we're going to go left side all the way against the wall, literally.
Coach, we know every game counts. However, your first game is against the Florida Gators. They're a rival. How do you not only win that game, set that tone for the rest of the season so that, the country knows what you guys are coming with?
Sure. Well, it's a tremendous rivalry. I know our fan base and everybody's really incredibly fired up about that, but we're not going to be talking about the Florida Gators. We have training camp coming up, and for us to be the best team that we can be on August 31st, we have to have a great training camp. We have to improve our systems, our techniques, our fundamentals, our ability to communicate, to execute, and without any of that, nothing else is really possible. So there will be a time when we get to it. I in no way, shape, or form am disrespecting your question, but I think when you talk to these guys, they'll be of the same mindset. All focus is on Miami, and in due time, we will be addressing our first game.
Coach, to your right side, 3rd row, almost towards the scrim there.
Tyler Budge, CF Budge. Coach, you get your Cuban coffee this morning?
Did I get mine? No, they failed me, man. I mean, everybody talked about the great Cuban coffee places here in Charlotte. I'm sure they're here, but, and I'll call Greg Olson about that. I mean, he was supposed to help me out, but it never happened, so, there's some making up to do.
Gotcha. Following up, Cam Ward over the last 2 seasons has been sacked over 80 times. What sorts of conversations have you had with Shannon Dawson, with your O-line about mentality, protecting the quarterback, keeping him from taking those kinds of hits this season?
Well, protecting the quarterback has always been the forefront of any and every place that we've been at. And it starts with guys like Jalen Rivers over here. The guy's a complete pro from top to bottom. Elite as a competitor, as a mentor to the younger guys, and in his approach to his craft. So it starts with the guys up front and making sure that there's complete alignment between the coordinator and the offensive line coach, right? Understanding what defenses do, what they do well, where their personal advantages or disadvantages might be, and scheming our plan as it relates to that, okay? And to do that, you have to have good personnel up front, especially when you have a quarterback like we feel our quarterback and quarterbacks are, to give them the right amount of time to allow them to just at a very high level operate within the system and sometimes improvise on their own. So we feel good about the personnel up front. We feel really good about the personnel outside on the perimeter, in the core, in the backfield. The combination of those things, Cam's, I would say his football IQ and his knowledge of protections and understanding where he is, where he isn't protected, how to get to a protection to make sure that he is, and everything that's built around it will allow him to be efficient, protected, and allows us to keep him upright.
Coach, keep your focus right there. His colleague in the blue shirt.
Hi, how you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Good, sir. TJ Wilkerson from 90.9 The Light. My question for you, I mean, the transfer portal has been huge for Miami, including landing guys like Cam Ward. You also got Damian Martinez out of Oregon State. Y'all have been really busy in the transfer portal. Can you tell me how much of an impact and what role it has had for your program?
Sure. No, it's a great question. It's really good. Sorry.
Coach, we're going to hustle a microphone to the very back on the left-hand side. Gentleman standing up receiving it now.
Good morning, Coach Cristobal.
Good morning.
Jesse Coker from the College Huddle. Cam Ward come from a kind of air raid style offense. Shannon Dawson also is a guy with a history of an air raid style offense. Can you talk about how his skill set lines up with Coach Dawson likes to do, and will that be kind of a different offensive philosophy for you guys this year with receivers like Restrepo?
Well, it's a perfect marriage because you're looking at two very high football IQ guys that continue to evolve. You know, I think sometimes it's unfair to pigeonhole a guy into being just an air raid guy. There are passing game principles that relate to the air raid, but there's also 5, 6, 7-man protection and play action schematical stuff that is more towards a power spread team, as well as a very efficient and powerful run game that we've also put together. So it's a great blend, and the evolvement and the morphing of our system allows a guy like Cam, a guy like Jalen to maximize their abilities, right? Whether it be in the run game, whether it be in the screen game, the passing game, we feel that there's a lot of different ways that we can attack opponents. It starts with the guys up front and the guy behind center, and we feel that we're super blessed to have guys that we wouldn't trade for anybody in the country. We feel they're the best.
Coach, from the podium, what does accomplished greatness mean to you?
Accomplished greatness to us would be a way of life. It relates to alignment in everything you do. I mean, we always at our place say how you do anything is how you do everything. So whether it be the classroom, the community, how you are at home with your family, how you are in the community with people that you're trying to impact, how you are in the locker room, how you are on the road, how you are when things are going well or when they're not going so well and you face adversity. Greatness is being the absolute best you can be all the time. It's a way of life.
Coach, we're going to go back to your right, third row, gentleman in blue, TJ.
How you doing, Cristobal? My next question for you would be, we've seen a lot of great Miami teams over the years. Can you tell us what's different about this year's Hurricane team?
What's different, I can tell you what's progressing. And back to what we were talking about earlier, there's a starting point for everything, right? And starting point at Miami for us was making sure that we enhance the caliber of talent in the locker room, that we increase the level and capabilities of the coaching staff, and that we blend in the strongest and most unbreakable culture that we can. And we've been at it for 2 years, so systems are growing, players are developing, people are there for the right reasons, right? Growth and development, hard work, and good people is a very strong combination. We feel awesome about the people in the building. These guys, they run to the work. They run to the fight. They're awesome to be around. It really is, it's awesome to sit back and watch them work. It lets you go home and feel good knowing that no matter what, these guys are ready and willing to show up because they're driven. They're driven to win. They're team goal oriented. So what's different? I don't know if I've ever answered one of those questions well or to the point. Because they're kind of projections and almost like hopes and wishes. For us, we're about the work. We've been lucky to have been around great coaches, great mentors in our profession as players and as young coaches, and we apply all those principles and values. And we've been blessed enough to have a locker room full of guys that are all about it, and they're eager. So I can't wait to have the opportunity to get to work with them.
Coach, staying on the right side, back to the fourth row in the middle.
Jeremy Grandison, ESPN Charlotte again, Coach. Miami has traditionally run a pro-style offense, but with maybe a more mobile quarterback like Cam, does that open up the playbook at all for you guys?
Well, I think Miami, we got to go through different eras now, brother. I mean, we go back to Testaverde and Kozar, and it's pro-style, and then Miami's gone power spread, open spread, air raid, condensed. I mean, it's done just about everything. We believe in Cam Ward, and we believe that Cam Ward will allow Miami to do things that Miami hasn't been able to do in a long, long time. We have complete trust and faith in him and the guys around him. He's a dynamic player, but even more importantly, he's a dynamic human being. Strong leader, raised the right way, unbelievable parents, like the guys beside him. All those sets of parents right there are the reason why those guys are like they are. And I think when you combine that with the talent that he has and the guys around him, it's exciting, but we're not here to make any predictions or projections. We just want to get to work. That's all we want to do. We want to get to work and want to get at it, and we want to and go prove ourselves, you know.
Coach, your last question, front row to your right.
Lever KT, CFP Nation. Coach, in the fast casual business, we have a saying of eliminating excuses. And since your time in Coral Gables, you've been able to eliminate excuses with the recruiting, with the roster construction. You have one of the best constructed rosters in the sport. And with that, it's kind of a caveat of sorts because now it's no excuses. Now it's that pressure to perform. Can you speak on that a little bit, please, Coach?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. I just know that football is process, right? People, systems, and culture. And that's what we're doing. So, and I guess I would answer it in the way that we have been working really hard to get to a point where our expectations for ourselves continue to grow. And we want those. We welcome those. And that's what we're looking forward to as we enter training camp for 2024.
Coach, thank you for your time. You
Thank
can
you.
switch spots with Francisco.
All right.
And we will bring him
Thank you.
up. And now that we have a warm podium. Folks, same deal. If you would, if you're asking a question of Miami for a second time, please reintroduce yourself. Francisco, we do have a new player to the room, so we will go front row, left side. If we could bring the microphone down this way, please. Walk it on down if you'll raise your hand, and he'll know where to find you. Perfect.
Layla Turner, correspondent for AP Kelly as we see. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. As one of Miami's top defensive performers, how do you see your role in mentoring and leading the younger players on the team?
I think part of it comes with the culture of the team. I think Coach Cristobal has held the standard, high expectation for us to meet, and I think everybody buys into it. And for myself, I think being able to be around great leaders and being around great people that, have the same mindset as you is really important. And that's been a big factor of who I am today, is just being able to be around the people that, help me reach the goal that I want to.
Francisco, also front row, this time to your right. Yes, sir, you?
Yes. How you doing? Francisco, you're from California. This is Mike Galtier from LightsCameraSports.com. You're from California. You played at Washington State. Interested, why did you transfer to Miami, and how's it been after 1 year?
Okay, get it straight. I'm from American Samoa. I was in California for 1 year. I was at Washington State for my freshman and sophomore year, and made the transition to come here to Miami. And part of it was just the coaches, and I think these guys have really welcomed me very good with open hands. And having my brother with me too has been a big factor into it. I think being able to be with family is very important. Family is very important to me. It's a priority, and I want to make a family tradition with just being my brother and being around great people like Coach Cristobal and these guys that help uplift your spirit and being able to be the best player, and not only your best player but the best person you could be.
Francisco, from the podium, you played quarterback in high school. How does that experience in high school help you on the defensive side of the ball here in college?
Growing up playing quarterback has been fun. I love playing quarterback, love having the ball in my hands, and I think just seeing the game different from a quarterback perspective have changed the game for me. Just being able to feel what a quarterback will feel. I think that was very important for me as a linebacker, because when a quarterback gets hit one time, two times, and they kind of feel that. For me, when I was a quarterback, I felt the same way, and just seeing the game at that perspective has been really important to transition my game at a high level.
So does that mean you're sympathetic when a quarterback gets hit?
At this point, as a defensive player, not anymore, but kind of got used to it.
Other questions from the room for Francisco? We're going to bring it down first row to the right. Gentleman about the second seat in.
How you doing? Deshaun Miner, College Football Nation. Your eyes lit up when you started talking about family. I want to talk about you as a young man. You've been going through a lot of changes. We as media don't get a chance to know what you guys go through in the locker room. Talk about like your core pillars as a young man and how they align with like Coach Cristobal and the rest of his players in his locker room and like the family dynamic that goes on behind the scenes with Miami.
I mean, for me, raising up, being raised as a kid in American Samoa, I was taught to, to serve. And I think this program has very similar aspects. I think coming in, I kind of just felt welcome and, just immediately attached to it because the culture is pretty much the same. And, the coaches are very easy to talk to, and you kind of just build those relationships that, that will go a long way. And I think having a relationship with your coaches and your teammates is very important because, that's how you earn trust. And being able to trust your teammates and your coaches, that will, translate to the field and how you perform. So, yeah.
Francisco, thank you. You can switch spots with Jalen.
All right, thank you.
Folks, Jalen will spend about 5 minutes with us at the podium, and we will look out into the room to see who would like the first question of Jalen. Jalen, we're going to go right side, just about the fourth row back.
Hey, Jalen, Jordan Silversmith, SB Nation. You have a new center this year. What have you seen from Zach, and how has he replaced another great center, Matt Lee?
Yeah, Matt Lee had a great year, and I'm excited for his future in the NFL. Now that we have Zach, he's a great addition to the team. He's filling that leadership role really well. It took some time for him to get comfortable with all of us, but now he's filled the shoes really well as a center spot, and he's built that camaraderie with everybody, not just on the offensive line, but with our quarterback, Cam Ward, everybody on offense. So he's doing a really good job and excited for the season.
Jalen, from the podium, O-linemen don't get a lot of publicity. How do you know at the end of the game that you have had a good game?
As an offensive lineman, I know for me, I never feel like I have that great game because I always critique myself. I'm my biggest critic. And going in that film room, you think you had a great game, but when you in the film room with Coach Mirabal, you might be like, damn, maybe I didn't have that much of a great game. But as me, as a lot of the people in our room, you never feel like you had a great game because we always want to be better each day, and that's how you get better. You never want to be complacent. So after in the game, you think you have a great game, you shouldn't, because you should always look for room for improvement.
Follow the center aisle up and then to the right, gentleman in the lavender pullover.
Faxon Childress, 105.5 The Roar. As offensive linemen and in a league with so many great defensive linemen going up against you, what do you feel like your role is to set the tone in the game and kind of establish the trenches early?
I mean, we get that pretty early because we get that a lot during practice. We have a lot of, defensive linemen in our program right now that get us ready for the games. For when we go into games, we're really prepared. We got Ruben Bain, we got Keem Mesidor, we got Tyler Barron, Elijah Austin, the list goes on. So when we go against these guys that have a great defensive line, it's no problem, and we're ready for that challenge.
Jalen, to your left, the gentleman against the wall.
Historically, when Rob Johnson, Legacy Maker Sports Network. Historically, when Miami's been good, they've had great offensive lines. What kind of advice have you gotten from past great players on that O-line of what you can do to have success?
I mean, speaking of recently, we had our Legends Camp, and a lot of the alumni came back, and we got a lot of great feedback. And instead of coaching the little kids, we got a little time with the alumni and teaching or hearing technique that they use in their past experience as an offensive lineman in the league and in college, and they're just spewing that all to us and teaching us. So it was a great learning moment, and I'm excited to use that, in my game.
Jalen, staying on the left, second row.
Mary Dungeon at the Players Lounge. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
So Coach Cristobal gave us some insight to the unbreakable culture at Miami. How do you assume that responsibility as you carry it out onto the field as a top offensive performer?
Yeah, so it's very important as a guy this is my 5th year, so it's important for me to really learn all the things that I learned in my past times here, and just pushing that on to the younger guys. And, I've experienced a lot throughout my time here, and so has other leaders. So learning from other leaders and learning my experience as a player in this offensive line or in this room or in this program is important for me to, see what I learned and see what other people have learned as leaders and put that to the younger guys and put that more into my teammates as well so we can be a cohesive and, successful unit.
Jalen, your last question here from the podium. You had 19 offers coming out of high school, literally from A to V. You're a Florida guy. You stayed in the Sunshine State.
Oh yeah, that was I always wanted to be in the vicinity of my hometown, Jacksonville, Florida. So it was important for me to just stay in Florida, and luckily and fortunately, I ended up in Miami Hurricane. So I'm excited to be my Hurricane. This is my 5th year being my Hurricane, and I will always be a Hurricane.
Jalen, thank you. You can
Thank
switch
you.
spots with Cam. And we've got a couple of minutes with Cam Ward and hands aplenty in the air, so we'll get to as many as we can in about 5 minutes' time. We will bring it, Cam, to the front row to your right.
Jalen Wilson, CFB Nation. First off, how are you doing today, Cam?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Every player's dream when they're growing up is to play in the NFL, and you could accomplish that dream this offseason, but you decided to withdraw from the NFL draft, and I wanted to know about the reasons why you decided to choose Miami over the NFL this season.
A lot of went into that decision. That's probably one of the most stressful times of my life. Me, my dad, and my mom. Every day for me, my decision changed. I went into my parents' room. I told them one day I was going to this school. Next day I was going to the league. Next day I was going to Miami. So, if I had to do it all over again, I would. But I feel like the biggest thing for me was there was still food left on the table for me. I accomplished a lot of things at the FCS level. I haven't really accomplished things that I know I'm capable of doing at the Power 5 level. So, I feel like the NFL isn't going anywhere. And, I feel like God, He just put me in this position, be a Miami Hurricane. And I feel like it's been the best of both worlds since then.
Cam, also front row, this time left side right there on the edge.
Royal Hall, the Juice Network. Cam, how you doing this morning?
Doing good.
Cam, you've received a lot of preseason hype. Your names are mentioned for the Heisman Trophy, NIL deals, you name it. What has kept you pretty much grounded and humble throughout this whole process?
Really, that's just how I was raised. I don't get too high, I don't get too low, even on the football field. At the end of the day, the only thing that's going to take care of myself and my family is making plays on the football field. So, everyone's opinion of myself really doesn't matter to me or my family. At this point, this time in my life, I'm more focused on, trying to win football games with the team around me. The coaching staff is going to put us in the best position. So, I don't really get into all that. But, if I happen to be, at the podium, up there in New York in December, I'll be, thanking God and thanking the guys.
Cam, right side, second row.
Hi, Cam. Adam Lemery, Herbert Hemsworth Radio. You came from the snowy state of Washington on the pollution, and now you're at the sunny sands of South Florida. So how much pressure do you have, performing at a high intensity school like Miami?
It's not really pressure at all. We got to show up and play each and every Saturday. We can't take no team too lightly. Whether we playing the best team in the country or the worst team in the country, we got to show up and be that team each and every Saturday. And, we're going to let the rest take care of itself.
Cam, we're going to go left side, second row, young lady in the blue jacket.
I'm Katrina Sacken for Sports and Culture Media. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Coach Cristobal has talked so highly of you and evidently has so much faith in you. What does that do for your confidence on the field when you step out knowing how much faith he has in you?
It means a lot for me. I'm already a confident person, but we have a head coach like that who's going to instill that. Not only yourself but the whole team, offense and defense. It's gonna help us, later in the season. Because at the end of the day, we trying to win football games for his family, and it's gonna set our families up in the long term. So just sticking to what he preaches each and every day outside of practice. Being good people on and off the field, and it'll translate to some wins.
Cam, right side, fourth row, gentleman in the green shirt.
Hey, Cam, how are you? Jeremy Granderson, ESPN Charlotte. There was a clip circulating around of you and Shador and Kyron Drones kind of practicing. Can you just talk about that a little bit and the work you put in, not only in spring practice, but also with other quarterbacks in the college football year?
Yeah, that clip was crazy just because that's just how we are, us three. That's how we talk to each other each and every day, every time we talk on the phone. So, it's always going to get blown out of proportion. But that just shows, that us three, the competitiveness that we have for each other, how we want to see each other be great. And I got a chance to play against Shador. I'll get a chance to play against Kyron this year. Those two great quarterbacks. I wish them the best. But, I'm just happy for, two kids like Kyron from Pearland, I'm from a small town, West Columbia, to be up on a stage like this and, not only express ourselves, but express our team. So, we've been put in a good position and, we're just trying to do our best and run with it.
Cam, your last question. To your right, third row, gentleman in blue.
How you doing, Cam?
Doing good.
TJ Wilkerson from 90.9 The Light. I had the pleasure of running into you yesterday in the game room, and I asked you, how are you enjoying Miami? And you said, I love it. Mm-hmm. What is it about Miami you love? Not just the school, but like the city itself.
I'm not a real big person of doing stuff. I like to stay home with my Rottweiler and chill. So Miami is good because if you want to do something, you can. I'm a big fisherman. I've been fishing since I was a little kid at home. I got a chance to go Maui fishing. I'm going fishing once I go back home tomorrow. So, Miami has a lot of things, but I feel like where people get carried away is when they try to do too much in, places like Miami. So me, having the background that I do, not really wanting to do too much, I feel like that's going to help me in this position because, I know, what I want to get out of football. I know what I want to get out of life. So really just keep my feet on the ground and, just trying to keep every day just move one foot, after another.
Folks, if you had Rottweiler and chill on your bingo card, you can cover that square. Cam, thank you very much. Miami, good luck this season and have fun today.
Appreciate it.
Folks, due up next is Louisville. Programming note.